G'day, Lukey. How you doing, mate?
Okay, Dr. Jubb, thank you so much. How are you?
Really good. Yeah. I was really impressed that people have been connecting in a bit, want to know how to do certain things and stuff, and that they were getting good, really value out of that material that you just got out of the archives more or less and set up for people. And then also, like, I think it's really true that people should have a bit of a series more on what this is, and it should be called the Red Slipper series, really, because it's the red slipper. It's like Dorothy, and you could see the images of a woman, let's say, in that Wizard of Oz, and that the brick road was made of gold, and someone was just clicking their heels, and they were red slippers. So really, it's sort of really about the heart's path, actual, and that you're protecting this of governance, and having proper governance of what is this actual, because it's an administrative council, which we'll talk about, and that everything that you do is more an administrative council because you're really the creditor and the debator, and that debator is an asset to you, and that you can be discharging what that is and owning what that is and having this paid back to you, that you could be understanding how things are more, when you can discharge, or what this is about the republic. And so none of these laws where something has existed, it's been renounced or anything. Those existing, which is still linked to what this is, in fact, because it's all about contract. But
Well,
so the word, I'll go ahead, mate.
so is it like clicking your heels together and it just happens?
Well, imagine that, like, you're in the country, you're from the land, and you say you're coming. A corporation can't say they're coming, right? And being aware, the word aware is a very old word, comes from the Massa tongue, which influenced all the languages and everything. And the word aware, in English, the A really stands more from your associatedness, which is your first attention in your own being. That's your associatedness in yourself, where you're showing up. And then W there stands for woo man and willful, and it means your will. It means your will. That's what that means, really. And that's what our speech of woo man means. It means your willfulness. The A, where you say aware, what are you really talking about? Attention. Where's your attention? Where someone's attention is. And do these things describe unique differences amongst people? Yes, it does. Where are you associated? What's your will? Where is your actual attention in life itself and focus? Okay, and it's all to do with R. You see what is, and what is a red line about that, and that R means red line, red line, and the red line to you really is your capacity to receive, and receptivity and beneficialness, and so you're coming more from a model of an administrative council, which we the people have, where you and I, we own both sides of the ledger. You see, so it's very different. You're not a debat whore, basically. And so the E in aware, the word, you see, it means you've established. It means past. It means something is past. It means you're established, you see. So you and I, where we are, we could establish facts more. Something could be really face value. It should be, because it adds up. Good. Well, it should. Shouldn't have words which don't add up. Second, because if you do, then you're going to have a one-pager in a moment, because we'll give you what this is. And I'm just giving you a bit of a setup for it. So what you've done on that one page is you've come from something which is established, which you are. And so what is it that you are the owner of, you see? It's why not you say what you are the owner of, what you should, because you've got a perfected certificate of title, which you are the owner of. And does that mean that you have to have had something in your hand to show someone? No. Why? Well, because the claim would have to exist and say, no, you're not the the owner, you're a fake or something. It's like, who's going to be challenged that? You have to see a claim whether it is. No, you don't have to have that piece of paper in your hand. No. So this is what's powerful about this red slipper series. yes? It means that you're a savage and it's what you say, which is your contract, yes? And it's one page. Why? Well, because what you say, it should come out, shouldn't it? Right there. You don't get a chance to actually say too much, right? Often you have to slow someone down and spell your name, like I'll spell mine, Jubbdavid, and that's one word, and it's lowercase. And so that's a red line, isn't it? There's lots of things, isn't it? So somebody could say, first of all, you're suddenly not a name like they have. No, you're not. You've just given a real true name instead. And you could be doing business or something, whatever, but you've got a right capacity to have a private component within something that you do, which is where your residence is. That's a physical property, a physical place which has got could be received of things and stuff. Where livingness is existing within. Yeah, so that's what that means. But if you and I, we really can do this good red slipper effect. You're looking at all the red line events, which is established, meaning that something occurred a long time ago, which came to be established. This is pre-ordered, pre-authorized in governance. And so your idea is, with this, is you're protecting people where anybody is, in all the role where something is, you're doing what you can to make things easier, but you're doing what you can to help correct things, in fact. That's very important. And you're owing an oath to with the people where you are, in the state where you are, and in the county, like and in the county Clay, or in the county where you are on the island, and where anybody is, in fact. And you owe your allegiance to the people, you see, and you're under oath where things are. So that makes things different, because you've all of a sudden raised the level of anything you did, and you've said, your oaths are accepted. Somebody had to go get oaths? No, your oaths are accepted. Why? Well, because you're under oath, you see, where somebody is. And somebody can have the opportunity to, which it's only you can do this, and that's you can give someone an appointment, and it is the appointment. You see, you've appointed. You see, so I had to have said appointed. It means that's established, and it can be just something which you've done, and that's in trust, in private, where you are. That's not anybody else's business, unless some claim that exists where something is. But you've got, a credit which is unlimited, and it's private, and it's secured. You've got a secured agreement between you and your debator, which you own, you see, and it's verified. It's much higher level. It's a non-negotiable type of securities where things are to help a nation keep its currency. One must understand what this is, because you're protecting things, which you must, you see, because otherwise you've got a much lesser knowledgeableness where someone is. That's what versus not somebody knowing any red flipper stuff whatsoever, and it's only showing up as a debator under a licentiousness and something which is negotiable ongoing, something which is in the public ongoing, and something this is only coming from a limited state of worth, which as a savage you would never think that second part existed, you see, because you're just under your own automaticness, and you wouldn't accept something that wouldn't be, you see. So that would be a red line event which you have. And so we're going to be talking a bit about these red line events, but we're going to come up with just a one-page sort of a thing, simple. And everything that we do, like in a series, could be just like you just got everything done in one page. Yes, you can. But you can understand what could you do that was behind that more, if you like, and you could go forward and just get a little bit of the paperwork and stuff done. So it's why someone could sit back, and they can see currency sort of being traded. Of course, they could see people in court, like the president, for instance, and issues that relate to, something in the public, it seems, or something in the private, it seems. And how are these two things getting mixed up? Isn't that fascism where it is? I think you could listen to the series and you could hear what you should do to help protect the nation and what you can do, what you should do, and what everybody could learn how to do. Because otherwise, if you don't, it's really a bit of an asymmetric warfare on all of us. So it's you're learning about how to give value, and the meaning of that is you have, whether you're aware of it or not, the capacity to be able to give your tax deduction to people, and you can assist where some process is. And so, is anybody going to be accepted of that with some process? Of course they are, because you just said you're going to have permission to pay their tax. It's like, damn, you're kidding. It's like, no. Why? Because you own both sides of a ledger, which is very different. You're going to have to come to understand what this is, which is some debt occurred. It means something got set off, and it was against your principal account lots, and run on because there was a lot of things about it. And did it happen by omission? Probable. So if it did, then this series is really a good for you to pay attention to, because you could really help clear a lot of things up for yourself. And it's possible for me to be able to, at the end of this sort of each moment, give you a sense of relief about things. Yes, that you could have cleared things up instead of going through litigation. Otherwise, you've got everybody sort of like a Palestinian in a way, or an Israeli, or anywhere where conflict is. And would you say that anybody is all right where they are? Well, of course they do. But where is this, you see? And it's in the administrative council that can help correct policy and stuff. And so this is really what we're going to be talking a bit about overall. But in the meantime, you could be learning how to correct your status and do sorts of things. But you could be also thinking, okay, I'm going to get a one page out of what this is. And that one page can help me where anything is. That's right. I think that's how we should do things, Lukey. Yeah?
That sounds really great, Dr. Jubb. Can I backtrack because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I I don't want to interrupt you while you're speaking because
Oh, yeah, no, go.
I'm here to listen
No,
to
no,
you.
you can all the time, because I could say people could sit back and listen, and they're going to get the bits and pieces that they need to, and I'll say, oh, take note. This is like something which you should have your page, yes. And so we're going to go through first up. What would you have on your one page, and then everything else we'll do after that. But yeah,
You're
it
the
can be
best.
interrupted.
So, some things sound familiar with what you're talking about. Is any of this having to do with taking our BC birth certificate and using a red pen over it or something like that?
Okay, so well, red ink. What's red? Red is your blood. Blue is your administrativeness, and black is your your public and your indebtedness as color. Yeah, in administrative law. Somebody could learn more about administrative law. For me, I started to really learn a lot more from some bloke, and he was a bloke where people did learn things from a bit, and then he did what he could to help people learn more about these administrative councils and stuff. And he was as a clerk for a while, and so that was something which was a work which he came to as I to understand things a little bit on scene. And and Clark's praxis, Maxwell's Clark's praxis, was then things which was written, created a bit of a revolution back then. It's like one book maybe. But yeah, anyway, I think that you and I, where we are, we're going to keep things very simple. We're going to be able to get things done with a stick. Nothing is going to be complex whatsoever. No. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep it on a level of a 10th grade language as we can. Yeah? Yeah, how
Sounds
simple, how
awesome.
amazing is that? Yeah. But you stop anytime, mate, because it's not of anything except what can be included, yeah, as we go where we are. But you can see we've got a lot of mess in the world, yeah? And
Yeah,
it should be something which we should get cleared up. And where somebody is personally, okay? Yeah, so there we go.
beauty. I think that would be great for me because maybe around 10th grade is when I start to kind of see that school wasn't that interesting anymore. I wish I
Yes,
studied under
exactly,
you
because
back then.
every single word which had two consonants that followed a vowel is a fictional word, and that lots of language should add up. You should have a real verb, not a verb which is undisclosed to you, which is nebulous. Yeah, and so it's really the usage of word more. One could understand who the grantor is, for instance, and who a trustor is, and who's the testee in a circumstance of a private trust which you run, and how does that correlate to anybody where the court is or where anything is, in fact, and who's the beneficiary and these sorts of things. But we could put all of it aside a little. Those are words, aren't they? But something has existed there, and at the end of this, these are all things which can become very, very clear to you. And I'm going to do what I can for us to use words so that's very commeasurable, meaning that we can easily see the meaning of the words, for instance. And so basically, really, the whole work is about something as authority. That's what something is, authority, and it's the authority being established. And a long time ago, we were given lots of text, the Magna Carta, all sorts of things. Yes, all the writings that existed, that it was to do with the Republic and things, before the Constitution comes along and everything, the Articles of Confederation, these are things. These ideas are not new, and yet something is of new here where we're talking very important, because it could be not so much said to you. It's so much been not in the public, you see, yes? Yeah. And so, very important, we could have this Red Slipper series, all right? So, okay, as we get going, of course, you could really see that the federal corpse, yes, itself is a corporation, and it's sort of bound to a certain amount of land and things and what have you. I mean, what comes from that, what the meaning of where this is itself as a fiction, and who belongs to what that is and everything. But what does it represent for us? You see, sort of all this represents a governance, and it's for you to be able to focus what can be done to help correct the things that need to be, and to truly leave alone anything that doesn't need to be, and not to influence anyone because there's no need to. You're just to present what's natural. So basically, really, you and I, we were a whole, and suddenly somebody came along and became separated, and how do you rejoin that? And that's what this series is a little about. You're going to use your red slippers, but you're going to understand that it's a red line events which really are established, that really relates to you, who is the author cup of tea, really. And it's your proper cup of tea, basically. So people could have a nice coffee or tea in coffee shops and things. And you could be listening into this series because it's really meant for you, right? So basically, this is to do with you, with an administrative council, where you are, and getting things done with an administrative court of record under common law administration, because you have the right to ask for what this is instead of something else. Well, you're going to get things off the calendar quick, and you're going to cause less headaches for people, and that's going to help them do their job. And why shouldn't you? You really care very much to actually help people where you are, versus, no, I'm going to be really burdensome or whatever. That wouldn't be right. But to step forward lightly and fix and help, and cause those to be having a good life themselves, versus, no, you're against this, you're against that. No, that can't be right. It isn't. You've got to care to be in agreedness, which you can. And what are you agreeing to? Well, that could be part of what the record is, simple. And in this one pager which you put forward, it's just right there. And it's something that has occurred. It's not like something has to occur. You're only going to put down what has occurred, you see, on this one page, because that's what established means in your wording. And so is and not, and the word like immune, you can use really simple words, my God. And you could be discharging of the charges, which you have a right to do, so is there any charges exist over that? No, they don't. And so that's what's behind this one pager. This is a red slipper, you see. This is your author cup of tea already established. in aware. You're aware more. You see, so there's a separation then, isn't it, from you being run over by someone telling you what to do because you've not given permission to be under some contractedness where it was, because there was no reason for what that was, because there was no harm, injury, cause, or damage to have been done. But where somebody used something that was like that, which didn't exist for you because you weren't in commerce in any way, or if you were under a different sort of commerce, which you are. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this one page where it sort of really has it all, you see, yeah? In a moment, which we can talk a bit about this. But we've got a little bit of a setup for the series that we're just these few shows that we do. And so whether you're a national, you can be a foreign national, good here as an American or a national as an American, but not every national or foreign national is it can't be a United States citizen, but every United States citizen is a national. You see? You have to understand what the difference is between these two things. But basically, where you're coming from the private, what we're talking about is you've got your own indemnity bond, and that's already existed. You can activate what that is, and you can set things off because of it, and you've a right to set anything up. That's such, you see. And so that you've got the ability to be your own fiduciary agent, and you've not given that away. Or if you did, okay, well, you did, but you've still got a lot of rights, you see. So we're going to talk about, it doesn't matter what your estate RC is, this is something which you have as a species of woo man where you are, like as any savage does. And what could you do just with your own language to help clear things up for yourself where anything is? But a crime can only really be where some harm, injury, cost, or damage was. And because no injury existed where anything was, a lot of things aren't really a crime at all, especially where you have the capacity to be able to have set the debt off because your debat whore, the home of that, is in the United States corporation itself. You see, that's where the home is, which we'll talk a little bit about that. It's under Articles 9 in the law, under Uniform Commercial Code and things where something has resided. And nobody could say that's not accused of being in the United States corporation itself. Yes, it is. You see? And so this is you where you are, but it's your electedness to help to correct where anything is, and you have a right to set things off. And so that's what this red slipper event is a little more about. And then when a administrative procedure is elected, whether you can, like an Article 3 or Article 4 court, where it could be, which is just like what you're doing on your piece of paper and what you're saying. And so everybody has a right, to order on demand more a common law court of record in equity. It means that you're coming from a capacity of knowing that you do own your own debator and creditor, and you've got a security sense within your own self that relates to what this is. And you can even go ahead then and get work and put something down more on paper that could help where what this is. But do you have to have done that? No, because somebody would have to claim a claim against you, like I was saying. And how could somebody, when you just said, listen, I'm the owner of a perfected certificate of title? Yes?
Mm-hmm. So,
go ahead.
When you're using these technical terms and the one page, I can't help but think that is this an actual piece of paper that we're writing, or is this a way of thinking?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. It would be great that you could get one piece of paper out of it exactly. So we'll put down what those words are a little bit, how might that be a little bit. This is sort of a setup for what that is, but I'm just setting you up to feel that what you have is you've got a court of record which is equity, and it's in equity. And you're bringing this to the table where you are as an administrative process versus litigation, which you don't have to do. Where something is, but most people will want to be only thinking, hey, you're going to get litigated, and you will have to be litigating. And this is really not right. You see, it creates a lot of paperwork. It's very wrong. What I'm doing is just saying, like, hey, let me share with you so you can have a deep insight how to have got something done just with a piece of paper, like you make. This is a notice. And you can write this as an interrogatory, a private confidential interrogatory. How amazing is that? It means you're writing something that's in-house. Very good. But you because you are owning both sides of a ledger, meaning you own both the debt and the credit, and you are realizing that you're the principal of it, and you have a capacity to set the debt off because that's an asset to you, which that currency would be redeemed back to you if you put paper in more that relate to what that is. You and I, we can help pay off a debt where something is, you see, and it's the private is what has to be working where a system is, and where it doesn't, you've got a public sense of it all. And we have to help correct what all this is somewhat as we can, and we can, you see? And so that's what this series really is about for people who've tuned in. Very important. So just wrapping this first show up, what would we do? I'll just cover like what we could cover just a little bit, just in a quick second, and then we can get on more or less like perhaps with what would be just on one page, more or less, in your approach, where you're standing there on the road, you don't have anything behind you, no papers or nothing, and you're to have said something where something is that can help you where you are, of course, you see? Yeah? But then if you didn't, or you did, okay, now you've got a piece of paper, you've got a right to be able to give a written response. And what would that be? Well, that could be this one piece of paper, it's your red slipper, yes? And so it comes from a mentality of you and I knowing that you and I are the creditor, and the private national or a foreign national same thing. It means you're a national. It means that, and that you have a right to have administrative condition where you are, and always, and never not, because every court where you are, it is a common right where you are, this. And you don't need to be thought, oh, I'm going to be litigated or litigation, like litigating. No, it really created a lot of paperwork. What's the reason for that? Okay, so it's really about a new epoch for all listening, yes? It's about a positive inducted future versus everybody just being under negative induction. We're not going to talk too much today about a golden age, but it's what is this red slipper series is about. Gut, which is a grand unified totality, and the things that you say, yes, it all is in the JC quanta and adds up. It has to, where your language is. And you are helping everybody because you're just clearing things up, and this is very important that you do this. So you're a friend to people, God help us, and you're really doing what you can to resolve things. You're a mendicant to listen and hear what the meaning of this is, whether it can make sense to you. It's got face validity. It's got some construct going on as a validity. It's got some contextual condition going on. It's got some expert validity because it's got a steadicisis of the past and everything, you see? So all this one pager that we'll come to have has all this set up in it. And one could know what a JC quanta is, which is the smallest pixelated dot in space, which, we're going to talk about that in some other time. But you could know this is not a theory. This is the totality. It's a totality cup of tea, you see. That's your proper cup of tea. You're the author cup of tea, you see? Yes? And so this is a proper administrative council. So you've got to get out of your head that you're against anybody. God help us, no, not at all. God help us that everybody could care for you. Why? Because you're insuring everybody. Very different. Yes. You're creating security for people, which is very important. Why? Because banks, where all currency is, you can see it, people coming to banks and all the activity that goes between banks and things. You've got a lot going on around the globe and all kinds of incidences going on. And you must know there's something in the private going on being protected, and there's something in the public. And these things should match up. They really should, as they can, what this is, you see? Yes? Because you've got the right to have a deposit account control agreement And you and I, we must do this as Ministry Council to help correct things where pocket judgment could have been a day late, a penny late, and somebody lost their equity under a dead man statute. That's going to be wrong. So where this series is, you're gaining your own authority, and you're realising that your funds and everything could be in a special deposit more in the way that you set yourself up, but should be this way, you see. And that where an order is, it's fully to help discharge what that charge is, so that everything is cleared away. And so you mainly, like me or anybody, you could have a very serious nuisance has been in your life, like your property can have been taken from you, and you had to really learn what to do. And so you replace the word king, and you can replace that with the word with the people, you see, or queen. Because a man, where he sets himself up this way, is of a special deposit order and a capacity to fully discharge things, and it's your red slippers to be able to clear up. But you could have had a nuisance where, and are you going to tell me that people don't have nuisance in their life? Oh my God, yes they do. Protecting mortgages, especially. 75% of most everybody's material, everything they put their energy into is into their real estate. And that's too bad that it's not you, the living estate, which is the real estate, which is a sacred cow. It's all been put into your substance, putting into something fictional instead. And that's something that relates to democracy itself. And how did this all sort of arise? Some positive condition, but you could, take rights away from people. And this is going to be very disastrous overall if it, needs to be corrected where things are. But you've got, which our show will be a little bit about, you've got a right to have presentment, yes, and you've got a right for a private postal. You've really got a right where you are as a private banker and having registration number and such. And you've really got a capacity where you are going beyond this to have updated your status. You could learn a little bit about and be relaxed, because one piece of paper can do all this where you are. So it's like, no, this doesn't take a lot of stuff, please. And you could learn what to do on this. It's really the treasury and the treasure chest, and you're having your red slipper for investing in a better future for all of us. For us, as like somebody said that you're not to own anything anymore, which doesn't feel right to anybody. But what's unknown and what's only been done to you by accommodation, oh my God, you should know that. Because is that the proper author cup of tea? It could be, but it generally might not be. And there's a trust, and you've got faith, because you're coming forward in credit and faith. And that's how you come forward. You come forward in credit and faith, you see. So these are words which are nice, that is behind what you say. And those might be some words like which we've run over a little bit. We'll come to them in a moment where we do our one-page stuff. But you're stopping trees, and you're really helping protect the government. You're really looking at the long-term effect of more a red slipper effect. When you're having the red slipper effect, it's the heart's path, and it's common. You see, it's common sense, and so we must activate what this is. Otherwise, lots of the stupidity is going on instead. And so you and I, we can't really no longer be under a crown of itself, under a state of a state of a state, which is not your nation, but something which would be present if you didn't control what your own self is, which we can. So stay tuned, to things coming up, because we could be learning a bit more about you actually really being a banker, which you are, and how could you set yourself up such, which you could and can. And then could you be no longer be on any detain list? That's correct. You could be put on a do not detain list. You'd be quash anyone where something is. You can have cleared away whatever the crisis was, and you could learn what needs to be, but what's behind the simplicity of you setting up an administrative council, and some small things you do just for your own self-good, you're doing that, and some bigger parts of what this is, yes, you could do to help clear everything up. But it's the very, very same principles behind the whole series that we do, Rookie. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
So, okay. All right. So let's see. When we come back, we'll begin, okay, mate? And we'll just go ahead and be thinking, what could you really be just on one page where you are, where something is, yes? And then I
Okay.
might give some forms a little bit so people could listen maybe. If you've got a pen, you could just make sure that perhaps you've got a few things that you've written down, and those are some few things which would go on to your one page. Yeah?
Great.
And in its simplicity, it would mean many, many, many presuppositions must be so if what you said and what you did was incurred. All right? Okay.
Wow.
So
All right.
we're going to begin. All right, our series. So anyway, this was really a great introduction, just to our Red Slipper series. And I hope everybody's really having a great day as you're listening into this. And when we come back in a moment, I'll give you a call and we'll get going with our second shot here. Yes?
Looking forward to it.
What do we talk about our second show, really? Because we've just sort of been talking about being aware. Okay. Now, hey, it should be that you've got one pager, isn't it? And why shouldn't you have that? This is our second show, and it's going to be, hey, let's clear up a nuisance. You know what I mean? Yeah?
Okay.
Wherever it is. Okay, mate. Call you back in 5 minutes, mate. Love you, mate.
Thank you. Love you too.
Okay, mate.